and welcome to the Storybox project, our summer theme. My name's Liz, and this activity that I'm about to share with you is the final activity on our summer theme. It's a really gentle, really fun activity where what we're going to do is we're going to read a poem together, and then we're going to speak about the language, speak about how the poem makes us feel, speak about what we think about when we hear that poem. Now, I've got a copy of the poem here, and some people like to have a copy of the poem to read along to. So if you go down in the description of this video, you'll be able to find a link where you can download a copy or look at a copy of the poem if you want to. But if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by reading the poem, and all I want you to do is listen and just think about how the poem makes you feel, think about what language stands out for you, think about whether you like it or not. So here we go. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimm'd. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance of nature's changing course untrimm'd. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose the possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So there's our poem. Just think about it for a moment. And then I want to ask, is it a poem that you know already? Is it a poem that you recognise? Certainly from my perspective, it's a poem that I think I read at school, and subsequently I think I might have heard people read it at weddings, things like that. But it is quite a famous poem, it's quite a well-known poem. Do you know who it's by? Have you any ideas? Well, it's actually by William Shakespeare, and it's one of his sonnets. It's sonnet number 18, and the name is the same as one of the lines of the poem. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? When you think about Shakespeare, many people think about his plays rather than his poetry. Have you ever seen a play by Shakespeare? Which one have you seen? Which is your favourite? I think if I had to pick one today, I'd pick Midsummer Night's Dream, because it's so fun and it's so uplifting, and I think it really matches our summer theme as well. So the next thing I'd like you to think about is think about how the poem made you feel when you listened to it. How do you feel about it? From my perspective, I really loved reading it. I loved the way the language flows and the way that the language comes together. Even if I don't understand every single word, I really love the rhythm. It's almost like a piece of music to me. I don't know if you feel the same, or do you feel different about it? And are there any phrases that you liked? Any phrases that particularly stuck out as you listened to it? Sometimes this activity might be a little bit easier if you can read the poem, but if you can't, are there particular words that stuck out as I was reading? So for me, I love the phrase, eternal summer shall not fade. This idea of a summer that goes on forever is kind of magical. Or the eye of heaven shines. The idea of light shining down from the heavens is quite beautiful. I love the way it feels as well. The eye of heaven shines. So thinking now about the mood, what do you feel that the mood of the poem is? For me, I just think it's so romantic. It's such a romantic declaration of love, the way that Shakespeare's talking, it's really beautiful. And I think maybe that the poem is about love. He's talking about summer, but really, maybe it's love that he is talking about when he says, "Thy eternal summer shall not fade." It's beautiful. And who do you think then, if this is a poem about love, who do you think Shakespeare is comparing to summer? It's obviously someone that he really loves, someone that's very important to him. So maybe it's a girlfriend, or maybe it's a wife, maybe it's his wife. And when might he have written it? For an anniversary, or just at the beginning of his relationship with this person? It's certainly a poem that I think people often read at weddings, and that would figure really. So finally, if you had to describe the poem in 3 words, what words would you use to describe it? Now maybe when you come up with these words, you could add them to the comments below the video so that other people can see what you feel about it. But for me, my words would be beautiful, romantic and passionate. Those would be my words. Beautiful, romantic and passionate. So think of yours, and when you think of them, add them below in the comments. So that's it. We're finished thinking about the poem, and I'm just going to finish off by reading it back one more time. If you've got a copy of it, maybe you could read it along with me. It's lovely. It's really beautiful poetry to read. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease has all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimm'd, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance of nature's changing course, untrimm'd. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, while in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So thank you for joining in with that activity. I've really enjoyed sharing that poem with you. As I said, if you want to download the poem, there's a copy of it within the description of this video. And in the same place you can find links to other Storybox activities that you can find at home. And on the bottom below the video as well, you can find the subscribe button. If you want to subscribe to our channel, that means every time there's new videos uploaded, you'll get a little message to let you know, and that'll come straight to your inbox. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking part in our summer theme.